It's an honor and pleasure to speak to you again.
Hey Nancy, long time no see.
I know. I feel like I should just start a fan club for you.
That'd be very kind. I'd be very flattered.
Well, this time you're bringing us Secrets of the Penguins, which you've been talking about for a while. You gave us a little clips of that cliff dive, which was fascinating. And oh my gosh, the story. Uh, Talk about the first episode, Heart of the Emperors. You gave us lots of lessons.
Yeah, I mean, when I signed up for Secrets of the Penguins, I was pretty nervous to start with because penguins have been filmed a lot before, and they've been in many prominent documentaries like March of the Penguins. They also, I know firsthand that they live in difficult places to film, often very cold, very remote, logistically challenging. And when you make a series called Secrets of the Penguins, you set your expectations pretty high. But I was pleasantly surprised that I was completely wrong. I thought I knew penguins. I don't. And the emperor penguins were a perfect example of that. Just when I thought they'd kind of hit their limit, they'd go do something crazy. And yeah, the first episode, all about the emperor penguin, is an emotional roller coaster for us filming it, and it will be an emotional roller coaster for people watching it. Their lives are so dramatic, full of surprises, and yeah, stoked to see what people think.
Practice of the handover was so delicately shown and humbling. I mean, I wish us humans were a little bit that like with that tactic.
Yeah, I mean it was filmed by my colleagues Helen and Pete. Amazing bit of cinematography. And when they spoke about what it was like to see, it's very kind of we humans naturally project human kind of emotions, but you can't help but feel the kind of you know nervous energy of new parents. You're kind of on them like, oh, are we holding the baby right? Yeah, it was a real touching moment.
And another thing you talked about with female penguins have this like internal compass and clock. I mean, that's a journey, and then making sure to return on time.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
they can be, hundreds of miles away. Pretty wild thing to think about that. Yeah, that they've got. It's like they're wearing a little watch that gives them a ping to go. Oh, come on, turn around, let's go. We got to get there. And yeah, literally, within days of the chick hatching, female arrives. She knows it's incredible timing, and that is something that has evolved over hundreds of thousands of years. Yeah, nature's pretty amazing.
I did shed a tear in there. It was very heartbreaking to see that not all little chicks make it part of nature, but and we get to see your heart hurting. Tell me about that experience. I mean, I'm sure you get to see it a lot, pretty often, not always shown.
Yeah, Mother Nature is a difficult place to be. And this is the reality of it. I think there were two things that I felt then. One was, it was particularly like moving for me because, often during a filming shoot, that's a month long or whatever, we get to see the animal we're trying to film a handful of times. But with penguins, they live in colonies, they have no fear of people. We can spend all day every day with them. And we were there for 2.5 months. So, you really gain an emotional connection with them. Obviously, a one-way connection. They don't care about us, but an attachment, and you see the amount of effort that goes into raising each chick, and so that's why that was so moving. But I think the other thing from that is, we were going out back to the colony after a huge storm, so we knew there were going to be casualties. But what was I think positive and really amazing was most of the chicks were absolutely fine. And that storm was relentless. It lasted days and days and days. And it goes to show just how tough these birds are, that to be able to survive. It's not like a couple of them survive. Like most of them do really, really well. So yeah, tough little birds.
Second episode, it's what, survival of the smartest. You take us to this warmer climate, and yes, we forget that there are penguins out of the snow.
Totally. Everyone thinks of penguins, Antarctica, icebergs, snow, but no. Yeah, I call these the hot penguins. Because yeah, they live in surprising places. So yeah, there's penguins you'll see that live in caves in the desert, penguins that live in the city, even penguins that live on the side of tropical volcanoes. Yeah, there's a lot of secrets, a lot of surprises.
I love how they're saying, they're so smart, and like you say, work smarter, not harder.
Totally, yeah. So in the case of the Galapagos penguin, they have learned that why when the ocean currents are not very rich, they're not really full of food. Why rush around spending loads of energy trying to find fish when you can just follow the pelicans? When the pelicans dive on a school of fish, they're kind of immobilized for a second, for 30 seconds or something on the surface, because they've got this big mouthful of water that they've taken in their, the pelican's big mouth pouch, and they're sieving the fish out of that water. So they can't fly away. And these little penguins, they might be tiny compared to the massive pelican, but they know that this is their chance, and they zoom over and steal fish. They literally mug the pelicans of their breakfast, and it's yeah, as you say, work smarter, not harder.
Yeah. I mean, I want to go visit the Simon's Town in Cape Town because, I mean, they even have crossing signs for wildlife, notifying people, careful.
Yeah, well, it's a good example. People and wildlife can live alongside each other. And yeah, I think those penguins are hilarious because you compare their lives to the life of an emperor penguin. You're in Antarctica, it's so cold all the time and windy, and you have to, the ocean's cold. And then, yeah, the African penguins are just like, I live on the beach, it's really warm, this is dreamy. Yeah, but they face a completely different set of challenges, and yeah, they are incredibly threatened, those African penguins, because we're overfishing their food resources, and historically have stolen their nesting material, and that's resulted in massive declines.
Do people have them as pets in towns like that? We see you take us through a journey of one penguin in particular that it makes his journey home.
Yeah, so penguins, yeah, they don't make good pets. Yeah, don't do that. They smell, they poo everywhere. Yeah, in the case of the penguins you're referring to, no, they've chosen to burrow in someone's garden. But yeah, the people and the wildlife are living alongside each other, but not together.
Well, now let's talk about the rebels with a cause. I loved it, and I feel like this episode has quite a secret.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming you're referring to the rockaroni.
Yes.
Yeah, so the macaroni penguins, yeah, a macaroni penguin has bred with a rockhopper penguin and created, yeah, what Poppy the scientist there is calling a rockaroni, which is pretty hilarious. What an amazing word. And yeah, it's in evolutionary history, the process of species forming is a very slow one, but there are these kind of key pivotal moments where things are accelerated, and maybe that's what we're seeing with this, the beginning of something new. But yeah, cool behavior, and Poppy the scientist, Poppy Boboroglu, he's so like heartwarming on camera, and such a dude in real life as well, and um, yeah, great that to work with him on the series, and he really brings something to it.
I love it. You had us in suspense with that episode when the mom was returning. I got up from my sofa. My brother was watching me. We were like talking to the screen, like, no, shouting. Oh my gosh, what a pivotal moment.
Are you talking about with the sea lion?
Yes.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, pretty brave little penguin standing up to something that's 70 times your size. Yeah, the human equivalent of that is pretty terrifying if you think about it. But yeah, these penguins are tough little animals, and yeah, she was like, "I'm not having any of this. Go away." And yeah, the big bull sea lion was like, "All right, sorry, didn't expect that," and left it alone.
So maybe all the other penguins will learn, like, hey, maybe you need to pause and just kind of step up and do all the movements possible. There's hope.
Sometimes you gotta stand up for yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me about also, you also show throughout the episodes that there is like the effect of global warming kind of like affecting some of the penguins' first swims. Can you talk a little bit about that and I mean, how can we make a difference in that?
Yeah, good question. I mean, yeah, look, it's 2025. It's no secret that we humans are not treating the planet very well. And that, of course, affects penguins, which we, cover in the episodes. I think, most penguins and most people don't live very close to each other. So it's easy to think that, you're helpless far away. But, penguins are indicators of ocean health. And we shouldn't want to look after penguins just because they're cute and fun, and it makes us feel warm and fuzzy inside, although those are good reasons. You know, a healthy ocean, penguins are an indicator of a healthy ocean, and we need healthy oceans. And, you know, all the oceans in the world are connected, and all wild places are connected. So just because you live far away doesn't mean you can't help. There's a couple of things you can do. First up, you know, everyone has access to a little wild place, whether that be in your apartment or a little patch in your garden or a park down the road, or you might be a key political figure that, governs whether or not national parks are protected. All of these people, doesn't matter their kind of hierarchical level in society, all can make a difference. You can make your little wild place that bit wilder. And I promise not only will that make you feel good, but it will make a difference. And if we all focus on our little corners, all those corners will add up. And yeah, why wouldn't you want to do that?
Exactly. And just which episode is one if this is your favorite of the three?
Ah, come on, that's a tough one. Um, I mean, the Emperor Penguins are obviously the crowd pleaser. They're the famous ones. I mean, the cliff jumping is mind-boggling. But they have enough fans, so I'm gonna say my favorites are the Galapagos penguins in the second episode. Just because, yeah, they're just wicked. Like, imagine being the ancestor of the first Galapagos penguin. You've been swept off course by a rogue ocean current. You get out of the water and you find yourself, on the side of a volcano next to a bunch of cactuses, and it's really warm. And there's sea turtles, and you're like, wow, I'm really lost. But they find a way to make it work.
Amazing. I'm between the first and the third.
Well, which one do I prefer more? You gave me to rank them. Jeez. I like the first one.
The first one. Yes, it's epic. It's that cliff dive that definitely takes the scene. No,
Yeah,
Bertie.
so they're all good. Yeah, in different ways. So yeah, you'll get a different something from each of them.
Now, Bertie, you take us through all these journeys and adventures of yours, but I wonder, Bertie, what do you do when you after when you end a trip? How do you unwind? Do you miss it? Do you miss being out there?
Wash my underwear and get ready for the next one. No, I mean that is partly true. The reason I do my job is because I love wildlife, and so that's what I spend a lot of my free time doing. Um, just not getting paid. So yeah, that's what I enjoy. So I'll keep doing that.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, Bertie, for your time. Congratulations for another successful series and many more. I mean, I wonder what's next.
Well, we're filming a new season of Animals Up Close. The first episode of which you will be hearing about soon.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Bertie, for your time and congratulations.
Thanks
Greetings,
so much.
greetings
Have a
from
good one.
LA, like always.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye bye.